Hi, this is Kevin from Two Guys Take on Real Estate. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend Scott Ferguson.
Time to shine today, Varsity Squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and this is episode 180 with my buddy from Massachusetts, Mr. Kevin Shippee from Two Guys Take on Real Estate. After you listen to the show, you got to go to Two Guys Take on Real Estate YouTube channel because there's a plethora of information you can really dig into to really level up your real estate investing. A lot of people know that that's how I started and kind of gave me some financial freedom is through investing in real estate. And I don't believe there's a better vehicle out there because they're not making any more real estate and you can get your little piece of the pie and really make a nice life for yourself. So without further ado, make sure you have your notebooks out. Make sure you're just relaxing, turn everything off because Kevin dropped some serious knowledge nuggets on how to level up your real estate investing. So here comes Kevin Shippee from Two Guys Take on Real Estate. Let's level up. Time to shine today, Varsity Squad. It is Scott Ferguson. And you know what? The people that know me and that listen to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. The real estate was the vehicle that allowed me to achieve financial freedom. I'll just go out there and say that, along with being able to help as many people as I can and doing something I'm very passionate about. And this is the gentleman that I'm about to bring on right now. He's part of kind of a tandem. You know, his name's Kevin, and he's the property prince. That's what they call him there at Yellow Brick Management. And then he's partners with Matt, who's the flippin Landlord Ninja. And what they really want to do is help others. They're not coming on here looking for your business. They are complete go-givers. They want to help you by giving back to help you avoid the mistakes that they have came across in their real estate investing adventures. And to me, I wouldn't do anything else. I can't control the stock market. I can't control what happens, but I'll tell you what, they're not making any more real estate. And the more that you can own, I truly believe that it's a vehicle that can help you achieve financial freedom, to help you achieve leveling up your life in all aspects, because it's a different hat every day. And my good friend Kevin's going to kind of come on and explain that. So Kevin, come on, introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Well, I think right now my favorite color is red.
We'll leave it at that just for today.
Yellow brick management, but let's just say red for the next week.
Red, I love it. Red's fiery. I love it. I love it. I love it. So let's get into the origins, Kevin, of where Yellow Brick Management, what you were doing, because you had a day job punching a clock, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Yep. Tell that story from over that and then into Yellow Brick Management.
Where I started it is, I was college educated, went to the great University of Massachusetts, didn't know what I wanted to do when I went. You're supposed to do after high school. And then after a couple of years of it, they're really pushing you to declare a major. So I declared something, I don't know, and kept going. And, there was never a drive where I was like, you know what, I need to be a firefighter. I need to be a surgeon. I need to do whatever. And I admire people that knew exactly what they wanted to be. I thought that was weird and such a foreign concept. I didn't know. So when I got out of college with my degree, first thing I did, like anybody else, is I got a job in retail. I don't know. I thought it'd be a lot of fun to work at Radio Shack stores because growing up in the 80s, I loved Radio Shack and their toys and all their gizmos. And my family was awesome about getting me that stuff. So I got into retail. I quickly started taking over management of stores, managed some of the larger area stores. And, I found myself being very successful doing that. And, one of the things I always realized as I was doing it, I enjoyed it, but I peaked and there was no moving up really from what I wanted in my career with that. But I realized I'm making that corporation very successful and very wealthy. I'm taking home a paycheck and I'm living off of it. That's fine. But I'm making somebody else really, really rich with, my hard work and my skill set, whatever I developed as a skill set. So, it was a short time after that. I had met my business partner, Matt, the flippin Landlord Ninja, as we call him on YouTube.
Right.
And met him in college. And so I'd known him all this time. And he was always very alternative. He never really liked the idea of working regular jobs, punching clocks. Mm-hmm. And it was him that conned me into the idea of getting into real estate and trying that out. So At that time, I was working just at a regular 9 to 5 job when we bought our first property. And it was he and I and another person. We all scraped up, a few grand each, $5,000 or something, for a down payment. We got a hard money loan, and we bought this piece of crap property on a bad section on a bad street in a bad section of town. This nice side-by-side duplex that needed the works, and none of us really knew how to do much for that kind of stuff. Matt had dabbled and failed a couple of times with remote investing in a couple of properties. Mm-hmm. But, we had this duplex. It was a horrible distressed property. We renovated it. I would literally wear crappy clothes in the morning, 7 a.m. to show up to work on it with Matt and everybody that we could help us. And I would bring nice clothes with me so I could change and then go to work. And then I would put those clothes back on at work and come back over to the property and work through the evening and night on the house. We did that for quite some time.
So you worked your day job, but you minded your own business, right? I pulled that right out of a Purple book from Robert Kiyosaki. So that's what that's how I kind of started real estate investing as well. Is that, I worked a day job. I was a personal trainer and loved helping people. But then, work your day job, but mind your own business. That's fantastic. So your first property was a duplex. And you guys like to stay hands-on with the local area there in Massachusetts?
Yeah, I mean, this was also around 2008, so it was when the crash was starting to happen and going into full effect. So we stumbled on this at the right time, and this city was hit pretty hard. As we were, soon after that property, as we fixed it up, we did what they call the Burr method, which before it was a thing, I guess. And with the money we pulled out of that property, we used towards buying another one. And so it was really one of the coolest things to see is while trucks of handymen and local contractors are driving around with big sheets of plywood and guys to board up houses, we're showing up at these houses with crowbars off, and we're actually bringing these houses back to life.
I love that. So what did your family think about your choice of kind of leaving that as you eventually phased out and left that 9 to 5, we'll just call it that, into the real estate investing pretty much full time?
Yeah, nobody really, understood. And, I think the bigger comment that I probably got at that point was like, wow, this is a really bad time to buy property. Wow, the market's terrible. Why would you invest? Why would you buy houses now? The market's, don't you see what's going on? And, that kind of a thing. And, just the real basic concept that eluded the general people, which is, this is the best time to start investing is when things are crashing.
Right. No, so tell me about one of those fails where you had to fail forward and learn from that you want to help people avoid.
I don't even know where to, I just don't know where to start. We've had so many times that, we would make just mistakes. I think the bigger and more general one that I would probably say was one of the larger setbacks for us was, and I think a lot of people would say this in real estate would be, shoving people into a rental. Just get somebody in there and get the place rented. Just get some money coming in.
Sure.
Because what a terrible effing strategy that was. I think at one point we moved in like 40 or 50 different people into our portfolio, very in a very, very short succession. And this was part of a local program. This state has a ton of money that it puts into homelessness prevention. So it was keeping homeless people, or people that declared themselves as homeless, in hotels. I mean, they were literally paying for people to live in hotels, and realized it's way cheaper if they could just get them into an apartment. It's better for the family, it's a home and it's cheaper. So we were taking people and embracing this program hand over fist without really doing enough due diligence and tenant screening. And man, did we pay a massive price. So, we got the assistance money and some of maybe some stipend to help, the payments happen for a little while, but the problems far outweighed the small rent we were getting paid. And then eventually the rent stipends run out, the support system expires, and you're left with people that won't pay and are destroying your property. And that costs us so much more in the long run. So that was probably one of the most damaging things.
So you obviously kind of tweaked that, you shifted and pivoted to how to put the more qualified tenants in there. I appreciate you sharing that with us. So if someone comes into real estate investing and they're coming to you and they're like, Kevin, really looking get into real estate investing, is there any good formula or secret sauce you might pass on to them to help them find their blind spot within the real estate investing arena?
Yeah, I mean, yes, and it's hard to describe. It's a little bit less tangible, but I would say have gauge and have a good temperament for doing this. And it's one thing I don't like to compliment myself much, but it's one thing I have gotten a lot of feedback from people saying, "Wow, you have a great temperament for doing this." And I said, well, thanks. I'm a little bit awkward about accepting the compliment, but it's not something that I always had. And it's not something a lot of my teammates, my partners always share either. When somebody's not paying, when somebody's doing something wrong, a lot of people think, man, you got to be hard on them. You got to be, you got to yell at them. You got to make them pay for stuff. You got to kick them out. You have to be aggressive, and loud and really, harass that person to get them to do what you need them to do. And although it's important to enforce rules and enforce payment, I think it's more important to have the right temperament of how to do it. And I like to describe it as saying you have to be prepared to be firm but fair with your people. You can't kick somebody out for not paying if you legitimately haven't been doing your end of the bargain, which
Sure.
is making sure your property's running right, the heat's working, all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
So really, making sure you're not handling emotion, real estate with a lot of emotion, dealing with tenants, especially, if you're holding your property and renting, if you're renting and dealing with tenants from an emotional point of view, you should be looking at it from a balanced fairness point of view, because ultimately, I mean, at least where I am, where we have a very liberal tenant law system and a court system that backs it up,
Sure.
You're going to be explaining yourself to a judge who's going to do exactly that. They're going to weigh this stuff out. So I just automatically try to treat every situation as if the judge is standing right in front of me and I'm explaining.
That's awesome, what I Kevin. Did. That's fantastic. So the follow up and the question, if you're kind of like you feeling the need to take someone under your wing and kind of help them out in their journey with the real estate investing, what is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
Yeah, I guess just about almost every aspect of it, I can usually tell people the pros and cons of it. When it comes to rental properties, in dealing with tenants, people get very surprised when they hear about one of our practices. And then I will, be happy to give them kind of like, well, this is why we do this, but you could also do it this way, and you need to figure out what makes the most sense for you. So a newbie, tenant, a newbie landlord might rent a multifamily house out, 3-bedroom, 3-family house, and traditionally they leave, the tenants having access to the basement where they have washer and dryer hookups and all that kind of stuff. And if somebody was having me mentor them, I would advise them very strongly against that.
Gotcha.
Give them basement access. Don't give them washer and dryer hookups. Don't allow washers and dryers in the units. Don't allow storage in the basement or access to the heating systems or circuit panels or any of that stuff. And here's why.
Right. No, I love that.
So yeah, and I mean, I'd be happy to weigh them out the reasons that some of those things may have some value, so they can make a decision for themselves. But those kind of things, easy and happy to always go over with people.
Love it. That's fantastic. Yeah. So let's get in our, you said you grew up kind of in the 80s. Let's get in our DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the 20-year-old Kevin. What kind of knowledge nuggets?
I would have slapped myself in the face and said, don't do it.
what kind of knowledge nuggets would you drop on Kevin to help him level up, shorten his learning curve, and blast through?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's actually, not to plug it, but we have a YouTube channel, and my partner Matt and I are literally doing just that. We're trying to drop out some of the nuggets of some of our experiences we've had over the years, because that's when I say that all the time about the DeLorean. I mean, man, if I could go back in time, I would say, oh my God, don't do this, avoid it, do something different. This was so hard. But you know what? The first thing I would probably say is find somebody to shadow.
Yes, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I love the concept of just get out of bed and go do something and make it happen, and force your way through it with brute. that you can make it, but it will be so much easier if you're able to follow in someone's footsteps. And renting property and real estate there's no need to reinvent the wheel here.
There you go.
So many people have done it so successfully. Emulate successful ones. Look at bad behavior, learn from bad behavior, learn from mistakes. You'll make plenty of your own, but I've made so many in every aspect of our business that I'm always happy to share what I learned from the mistakes, because that's one of the things we found it really, really critical. If something was a weak point for us, we always try to put a procedure or a system in place to avoid it.
Love it. So how do you want your dash remembered then, Kevin? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date. How do you want Kevin's dash remembered?
Wow, that's a great one. I don't know. I guess I would say, I would like to have people remember and think of me as somebody who was a provider. I provide dozens of jobs. We work with many contractors who have families and employees. We support a lot of businesses, obviously Home Depot, but a lot of local places as well. We have had over 500 families. And for our first year, we gave away turkeys to our first 20 units that we ever had. And in our next year, when we had 40 units, we gave away 40 turkeys and hand delivered these things. And I think we got up to about 300 turkeys one year before we were able to not be able to support doing awesome. That anymore, as you might imagine. But
sure.
I think somebody that's been a good provider, for
not just for yourself or family, but for the local businesses, and it's expanding that ripple effect. Thank you for saying that. So what is your definition of a life well lived then?
Wow, man, we're getting some insightful questions
this is
here.
Time to Shine today. We're not top 100 for nothing. People want to know.
I appreciate it. I think, feeling satisfied that you did and tried your best, that you made a positive difference within your sphere, and making your sphere be as large as possible so it affects positively as many people as you were able to.
That is awesome. Dude.
I'm one of those people that does, really does care and does want to see, positive change in the world, and, whatever can be done to do that. I think
that's awesome, Kevin. That's awesome. As we wind things down just a little bit here, we like to do our time to shine leveling up lightning round. You and I could talk 15, 20 minutes on each one of these questions. Okay. But you got 5 seconds and each one of them can be answered in 5 seconds. So you ready to level up?
Okay. We'll see what I can do.
Let's do it. What's the best leveling up advice Kevin's ever received?
Wow. What's the best leveling up advice I've ever received?
Correct.
You have to sometimes make a decision and then, figure out how to make that decision work for you.
Love it. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Absolutely. Treating everybody the way I would want to be treated.
There you go. Golden rule, right, baby? Love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Not other than yellowbrick.org, your website, and timetoshinetoday.com. Shameless plug. Is there any other website you'd like to go to level up?
I would really love people to tune in and check us out on our YouTube channel, which is Two Guys Take on Real Estate.
Beautiful. I love that. Two Guys Take on Real Estate. That's sweet. So recommend me a book, man. If I'm feeling my doldrums, not really feeling it, Fergie, here, read this book. What's your book?
I liked one of my favorite series ever was the Wheel of Time series. It was by Robert Jordan. It was similar to the Lord of the Rings Tolkien ones, and a lot of awesome elements in there. One of the things was probably about honor and obligation.
Love it. A lot of good lessons. I love reading fiction with lessons, bro. That's my kind of jam too. So what's your most commonly used emoji when you text, Kev?
Definitely a smiley face. I mean, if you look at me, I look like freaking Cheshire Cat over here. And I got this big grin.
Yeah.
It's people see me in oncoming traffic at night, and they know it's me because they see the
you're
big
like,
grin
hey.
through
Is there any good, favorite charity or organization like to give your time and or money to?
Oh, animal rescue. We have a local animal shelter. I've rescued so many animals. We saved so many animals that were left behind in our apartments. It's horrifying.
Wow, that's awesome, Kevin.
And we have an office full of dogs and dog beds around here. So,
Dude, that is freaking awesome, dude. Thank you for doing that, man. How about last question? You can elaborate on this one a little bit. What's the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
I got to say 90s. Yeah.
90s. All right. 90s. Very cool. Very cool. Love it, man. So how can we find you, brother?
Well, I mean, like I said, Two Guys Take on Real Estate. That's our YouTube channel. We're having a blast putting out videos. We're probably not as production value savvy as you are at this point, but we're working on getting our way up there and just cranking these things out. So Two Guys Take on Real Estate on YouTube. We started a TikTok channel, same name, Two Guys Take on Real Estate. That's become a lot of fun. We're just coming up with creative things to do and say on those. So
I love it, man. I'm going to definitely check that out.
Always looking to get back.
Yeah, all that will be in the show notes. And squad, you've basically just had a free masterclass from my good friend Kevin here, who, every day lives his passion. He made others wealthy before, and then, with the help of his good friend Matt, they kind of made a collaboration that really makes it work, that really help others. He's going to remind you, if you're a landlord, make sure you get your tenant screening protocol in place. So you make sure you're just not filling people just with heartbeats, and make sure that you put the people in there that's going to serve themselves, but also serve your company as well. Have a good temperament. He's going to say that, as soon as Kevin developed a good temperament, he became firm, but he was fair. So he pictures himself every time in the real estate business, including myself. I've been to court many times. I love his analogy of standing up and acting like you're in front of the judge at the time before you really speak to the tenant about anything that might be going sideways. If you're getting started in real estate, Kevin's going to remind you to find somebody to shadow, find that mentor. To also learn from your mistakes. But when you learn from your mistakes, pay it forward so other people can learn, like Kevin and Matt do with Two Guys Take on Real Estate, which will be in the show notes. Okay, Kevin wants to be known as someone that provided employment, not only to his team, but to also help out the local businesses, the big box businesses in his area, and he's doing just exactly that. He wants to be remembered as someone that tried his best, made a positive difference within his sphere, and that ripple effect's going to take it elsewhere. And Kevin, you've earned your varsity letter here at Time to Shine today, Varsity Squad. We appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on, being so transparent. And I look forward to doing some collaborations with you guys in the future, brother.
Oh, we're always open to everything, and hopefully, I'm sorry Matt wasn't able to be here, but hopefully
who needs Matt? Who needs Matt? He can hear that too.
No, we all need Matt. We all need good partners.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast, proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.